Hey, fabulous people! Happy Friday. It's Elise Tager, coach to ambitious female entrepreneurs, and thanks for joining me today. Once again, I'm doing this from my phone, which isn't optimal, but I've got some tech issues with my laptop. I don't want to bore you with this, but Facebook doesn't recognize my camera. Some platforms do, some platforms don't. So I think I'm going to have to take a hop over to the geek guys at Best Buy or something to help me figure out what's going on, because doing these from my camera isn't fabulous. But anyway, so here I am. If you're with me today, thanks for coming. If you're watching this on a replay, thanks for listening in. You know, I do these once a week, and what my goal is to just give you 10 or 15 minutes of coverage on an issue that I think is important for female entrepreneurs, and especially to female solopreneurs who are desiring to up their game, to become more of the CEO in their burgeoning business. So just tips that I think are going to be helpful to you. And there's usually an offer or something else I can guide you towards if you want to hear more from me. So let me get going. The topic today is what's the right price? Fear plus 10%. So this came to me, let me just back up a second. Most women, and this might sound sexist, but this is true from what I've discovered by working with lots and lots of women entrepreneurs over the years. Most women are uncomfortable pricing. Most women struggle with pricing. You know, we're sort of wired to be nurturers and to take care of other people, and I think we do that without we do that happily, but what we're not happy about or comfortable about is charging for our expertise. And that's what I really want to talk about, because as I say, this is so for so many women entrepreneurs. So I had a coach once where in the very beginnings of my career, when I was stressing on pricing and what should I do for this and that coach said, take your current pricing and add 10% and go from there, which was mind-boggling to me. But I want to walk through that and why that makes sense and why I'm going to encourage you to do the same thing. So at the heart of confusion around pricing is a lack of self-confidence. And it's a lack of self-confidence in yourself. It's a lack of confidence in your offer. You might be putting a mastermind out there, or a coaching package, or you're selling furniture on Etsy, or there's a lack of confidence in the what of what you're selling. Or it might be your expertise in general. You know, who am I to be doing this? So this brings me to, so the base is a lack of confidence, which is why you're having a hard time coming up with a price that is reasonable for you. And this goes back to imposter syndrome. I did a video on that a couple of weeks ago, and I'll link to that in the notes above. But imposter syndrome is when you're feeling like a fraud. And anytime you step outside of your comfort zone, whatever that is, anytime you step outside of your comfort zone, you are likely to feel like a fraud. Who am I to be doing this? Who am I to be leading this seminar? Who am I to be on the stage, in this dramatic part? Who am I to be creating this course or teaching this course? It's you feeling like you yourself are a fraud for doing what you're doing. This can be, and this is certainly going to be at the underlying of you being afraid to charge higher prices. Who am I to be charging, fill in the blank, $5,000 for this or $2,000 for that or what have you? It's a fear that you don't deserve it, that you don't have the expertise, that you're not confident, you aren't confident enough in your own abilities to be charging whatever that price is. So here are some of the things that you might be telling yourself. And this goes way back to some programming we might have had when we were growing up. If you are feeling a lack of confidence in your business, in your offers, in your pricing, this can be crippling. And I would hope that you could spend some time either working with me or doing your own work to find out what is causing that lack of confidence and addressing that. Because at the very base of everything, you have to believe in yourself to be able to be in business. If you don't believe in yourself, how can you possibly sell what you're doing to other people? So it can come from messages way back when. Here's some examples. Nice girls don't make a lot of money. Or a nice girl shouldn't have to have their hand out asking for money. That whole programming around if you were civilized, if you were a nice person, if you were, a good person, you wouldn't be looking to make money or a lot of money. Programming that's coming from way back. I know my dad had a lot of those sayings that he said all the time. Money doesn't grow on trees. Earning money is hard. I think he also was pointing to other people in his life or our lives who were much well accomplished, had much more than we did, and with a certain disdain for other people with money. That kind of stuff gets laid down in your unconscious, and it's hard to shake that stuff. So take a look at where your own earlier programming might be coming from to see if that's part of why you are not allowing yourself to feel good about charging money. Another thing that comes up a lot is I can't do good work, the good work, meaning the spiritual work, being a healer, doing the good work in the world and asking money for it. Those are mutually exclusive ideas. And again, this is one of those things that you just have to get over. Unless you're running a nonprofit, if you're running a nonprofit, you still have to keep the doors open, but there's some truth to that. However, most of ours, Lakeisha, thanks for joining us. That's great. You say, I was told I'm too honest and would never make a lot of money. Came through from folks I worked through it though. So these are the messages we get either at home or from people around us is, as Lakeisha says, if you're an honest person, you wouldn't be asking for a lot of money or any money. You'd be giving it away, or that's the understanding. So these are some things that you want to identify within yourself. As I say, in my family, my dad set the tone by looking at or pointing to other people who were moneyed and being very disdainful. Nice people don't show their wealth, nice people don't drive big cars, we would never do that, blah, blah, blah. So take a look to see if there are any of those voices from your past that are haunting you today, which are going to get in the way of you being comfortable being a money-making, profit-producing entrepreneur. As I started to say, many spiritually based coaches or providers of some kind, whether you're in their health industry, spiritual, done-for-you services which have to do with health, chiropractic, what have you, these women tend to be the worst at feeling comfortable about their own pricing. So again, dig deep and see where you might have some of these messages coming in. So the first thing I'd like to do is to have you shed your embarrassment about making good money. And unless you're running a nonprofit, we all need to make money. We are profit-based business. That's why we're here. We have bills to pay. We have a mortgage to pay or the rent to pay. We have kids to put through college. Life is expensive, especially in California. And you are here to make a buck. You're here to make an honest buck. And if you feel guilty about that, again, question that. Question why you are in business, because you are here to make money. One of the things I get feedback on every time I do a webinar where I have a course to offer or a program to offer. Usually in the course of a webinar, you do the presentation in the last 5 or 10 minutes. You present your offer and invite people to come join you to buy from you. And I always get feedback from people saying, well, here she is with another webinar where she's just trying to sell us something. Well, of course I'm trying to sell you something. I'm in business. And I'm trying to stay in business, and the way I stay in business is in sales. So don't be uncomfortable with the fact that you are in business to make money. It's part of what's expected. It should be expected, and you should expect it of yourself and feel good about it. So here's kind of an exercise that I want to encourage you to go through. This goes back to the fear plus 10%. Come up with a pricing strategy off the bat that you can live with. So you might want to start by doing your research. If you really don't know, if you're sort of grasping at straws, do your research. Find competitors that are doing similar things. You might call them and pretend to be a prospect to see what their pricing is. Go through their discovery process to see what they charge. I know that sounds unethical, but this is called research. Find out what other people charge. Google it. Just type in, what is a business coach? Hi, Kelly. Thank you for joining me. Nice to see you here. Google it to see what other people do. Do your research so you know what either the hourly rate or a per project rate, typical, given a range, would be for the kind of work that you do. So you have some frame of reference. Then take a stab at where you want to start. Assign prices to your services that you feel you can live with. And then I tell you to bump them up 10 or 20%. And this is going to get you out of your comfort zone. And you're going to say, no, I'm not comfortable with that. But here's the secret. You're only going to, let me go back. These aren't etched in stone. These prices aren't etched in stone. Unless you've printed collateral, your prices aren't etched in stone. When you add that 10 or 20%, put it on and wear it for a while. See how it feels before you return it to the store, right? Next time you're at a networking event, if people bring up what are your prices, tell them what your prices are at that higher level. Next time you do a proposal, next time you're asked for some kind of information about the services that you provide, quote your rates at that higher level. Get comfortable with that, right? It's you convincing yourself that you're worthy of that rate. And as I say, inch it up 10%, 20% if I could goose you from behind, but inch it up 10 to 20%. Get comfortable. Make sure you can say it with a straight face. Make sure it comes rolling off your tongue so that when you are at your next networking event, you don't stumble and bumble and apologize for what you're charging. Sit with it and be comfortable with it. The secret here is that you can charge that, quote that, and the very next time you do a quote, you can change it again, right? Nothing is forever. And you might find that 10% increase was pretty easy for you to do, got you into a level where you're making you've got a little more comfort in your income, and maybe you want to goose it another 10%. So play with this. I want to encourage you to play with this. So imagine here am I, your little voice and your angel in the back who is saying to you, the next time you do a proposal, increase it by 10% and see how that feels. Once you get comfortable with it, you will be comfortable with it, and you'll be able to convince the world out there that you are worthy of charging those rates. If you are looking at competitors or other people in your niche and you see that you are way below their pricing, or you should be charging way higher, use that information, right? Don't use it to feel crummy about yourself. It's just doing research. Who else is charging what? You may not be ready to jump into that level, maybe not for a while, but use that as fuel to give you the push to push your rates up 10 or 20%. Try it on for size, say it in front of the mirror, write it down a bunch of times. Just get comfortable and confident that you can quote that price without feeling uncomfortable with anybody who asks you, so that you can say those prices without stumbling. That's important. So here's your homework. If you are undercharging, try to figure out why, right? These could be very subconscious messages that you've got rattling around in your head that you haven't even looked at. If it's a matter of confidence, do the work to build up your confidence. And we can talk in another webinar, another episode of Facebook Live about how to build up your confidence, and or connect with me at the Facebook group I'm going to tell you about in a minute. But do the work to gain more confidence in what you're doing. Last thing is go through the exercise I just talked about. Increase your prices by 10 to 20%. Put them in a proposal. Get that out there. See how it feels, and get back to me. Or to us, I should say. So either on my Facebook page or in the group, tell us how that felt. and if you want to do it again. This is pretty important stuff. So I have a few invitations for you. This little nugget we just talked about for the last 10 minutes is a part of a webinar that I'm doing September 4th. And the topic of the webinar is, are you charging what you're worth? There's lots more to this concept. And the reason I focused on this for a webinar is because most women entrepreneurs struggle with this, no matter where they are in their business, whether they're in their business, whether they're newbies or they've been in business for a while. Pricing and feeling your own worth is a big issue. So I'm doing a webinar on September 1st. Once I save this video, I'll post the link up top. Another thing I'd like to invite you to is that a Facebook group that I'm running called Solopreneur to Entrepreneur. It is open. I mean, you have to answer some questions to apply and get let in, but it's a great collaborative, supportive group of kick-ass women entrepreneurs who are there to support each other. So I want to invite you to come over there and join the group. Lots more. I do lots of videos in there. I do lots of spot coaching. I provide lots of resources. We help each other. It's a real masterminding opportunity. So I want to invite you over there. And then the last thing I want to invite you to do is to download a little PDF, a guide that I've created called Solo to CEO, 5 mindset issues that will keep you from growing. So I'll put the link up there. It's really a synopsis of some of the 5 key issues that keep us stuck. So that's it for me for Friday. I hope this was helpful. If you're stuck in that conundrum about how I should be pricing and what I should be pricing, I hope that was helpful. Happy Friday, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This will be saved and be on my Facebook page. I'm also going to put it on my YouTube channel, and I'll put a link to that as well if you want to watch the replay. So thank you much, and have a great weekend, everybody. Take care.